This video is going to work two ways. The first of which is that I'm going to be explaining the astrology for October 18th and 19th of this year. And then the second part of this video is the oracle card readings for each day. I'm very excited to announce that I'm using a new oracle deck that came out last September. I got it yesterday. It is called the Mystical Healing Oracle, and it is by Ines Siegel, illustrations by Jake Baddeley. I believe I'm saying his name right. And I want to show you what some of the cards look like. There's 36 cards, and the cards have a very old um, Renaissance background. On the back of the card is what they look like, as you can see here. And then the edges of the cards are blue, golden, looking edges. I hope that you can see that. And then I just want to show you what some of the cards look like so you can get a sense of what they look like. Just so that you can see, just so you can get a glimpse. Hopefully you can see it holistically. Okay. So with that being said, trying to find my rubber band where there it is. Okay. So let's talk about the astrology of October 18th to begin with. Now, the very, very first aspect is we have the moon coming to an opposition with Mercury. So with the moon opposite Mercury, with the moon in the sign of Taurus, Mercury is in Scorpio at this point. When the moon opposes Mercury, it's difficult to understand our feelings and express our feelings. We may be overly critical and analytical one moment and overly the emotional the next. Extra care needs to be placed when it comes to negotiations. We need to be extra careful that we're communicating the right things, that we're saying the right things, that we're putting out the right things. This becomes a very, very big issue of focus at this time. We also need to spend some time in reflection, helping ourselves process our feelings and to relax. So find some time out of your day. Tomorrow, I'm filming this video on October 17th. Take some time out of your day to spend some time alone and contemplate your feelings. That can really bode you well at this time. There may be a balancing here between your emotions and logic that may need to be had. There can be misunderstandings and disagreements. That's a very, very big issue here. There can be compulsive talking because you're covering up for that, because you don't want to have genuine, honest conversations. You're just talking to fill the airspace, to fill the airwaves, to fill the space of what is the void in what you're communicating. So it's important that we do not have meaningless conversations in this regard. There may be a tug of war between your emotions and your mind. It is important also to integrate your rational and logical self, to blend these two together between your more emotional side and your more rational side. This is great for forming deeper connections with other people, to really bonding with them in emotional ways. Honoring both these aspects of yourself is super important, your analytical nature and your emotional nature. So it's important to allow your heart and your mind both a seat at the table, and both of them can work together and farewell move on the moon's rainbow together. And so we may feel the need to lean on others to make choices. That's how this can also show up, is for sort of allowing other people to make choices for us, as opposed to us being sovereign in ourselves and us making our own choices. So we need to nurture both our emotional and rational sides as well. living a more balanced life in this regard can be very, very huge at this time. We need to find that our actions, we need to evaluate if our actions have or lack foresight. If they lack foresight, we need to develop more foresight into them. We need to see the future destiny pulling us in the direction that we need to go. We need to be up to the battens with our life individually and be able to see into the future as to this action that I take is going to either have a positive or negative consequence. What am I choosing to have as my consequence for this action? We need to evaluate our actions at this time. Nicole. Being humble and open to feedback and suggestions is also important. Not thinking that we know everything, not being on our soapbox and being high and mighty on our high horse, but being open to suggestions, being humble to say, I don't know, and I'm willing to learn. I'm curious at this point. I wonder. These kinds of things become very important now. So we need to understand that everybody makes mistakes. Everybody can, mess things up, screw things up. We're all human beings. We need to respect this. We need to also admit when you're wrong. It's important to admit when you're in the wrong, and fess up to if you make a mistake and be truthful about that. Being truthful is really, really key here. We need to also practice mindfulness as well. Now, the moon's going to sextile Saturn. So, when the moon is in a sextile with Saturn, when the moon is forming a positive relationship with Saturn, this is a window of opportunity that we can intelligently take action upon. So, when the moon is sextile with Saturn, we can find that we have stability and security in our personal and home life. We can find this to be the case where we're feeling very stable and secure in our personal home life. This is in place. We may feel practical, persistent, and organized in our life as well, really committed to our obligations, committed to our commitments, and we're not willing to give up or go on another path easily. We're committed, we're in for it. We have a mission to climb up the mountain and go towards that high peak and really become very organized. Also, organization is another huge hallmark of this time. So emotional toughness and resistance and patience is important. So being emotionally tough, emotionally resilient, and patient in addition to this. We may feel responsible, reliable, and also dependable, that others can depend upon us to give them the bacon, for us to give them the astranomalises of what they need from us, that kind of thing. So it may also feel more reserved at this time. This is not the time that astrologers recommend for socializing. And so you may feel the need to share deeper, more serious emotions with the loved ones. That may be a high point at this time, where it's time to sit down, have those deep, serious conversations, those honest, emotional conversations with others in serious, deep ways. So, you may find that your commitment is more loyal to your family or home at this time. It's good for caring for your family, community, and nation in practical ways, not necessarily through words or through you giving off energy towards people in practical ways. Like, how can I actually do something to serve somebody else or help somebody to show that I care about them? That kind of thing. So feeling more responsible to family and loved ones at this time. So, so we can find that our structure of home and our work environment can be really practical and productive at this time. This is also great for nurturing your career. Um, are there any elders in your family at this time that need help, that need support? That you may want to support them. You may want to put more of your attention, your eggs in that basket. This is also good for preserving memories, preserving any kind of memory that you can imagine. in many different categories of memories. Really honoring and cherishing memories at this time can be productive. Now, I did pull an oracle card from this new deck that I've never used before, and the card that I pulled for October 18th was the card. It's card number 31. Stop breaking agreements. So, what this card entails is we need to evaluate now when we said that we were going to do something and we didn't follow through on it. When we said we were going to unload the dishwasher, we didn't do it. When we said that we were going to be here by a certain time and we didn't do it. When we said we were going to bring flowers to the grave cemetery and we didn't bring flowers to it. So we need to evaluate where we have not followed through on what we promised others that we would do and what we've agreed that we would do. This is about breaking agreements. And here's the thing about agreements. Every agreement that you break links and chains to other agreements that you break. And it also is a reflection of the people who are not caring about breaking agreements. So we're sort of getting in this sort of spell soup of unfulfillment and unpromises and Una negativity. So we need to commit to our agreements at this time. When we keep our agreements, other people trust us. They can rely on us. We're reliable. We're trustworthy. It is a sign that we were fulfilling what we said that we were going to do as a sign of self-respect, that we're being true to ourselves and the agreements that we make. For self and for others, and it also is a gesture of good faith to other people that we said that we were going to do something and we're committing to it. I'm going to read to you the action that it says in the guidebook so that you can probably act upon it or consider it at this particular time. So let me find it as card um 31. This is with the action. So I'm going to show you the guidebook. It has the card name, it has a little phrase down at the bottom here, which is allow others to develop trust in you. It has some discussion, and then it has the action that I'm going to read to you now. So this is what it says. This is your action. Think of the earliest agreement you ever broken. You can journal about this. You can write this down. You don't just have to think about it because journaling helps you express what is on your mind and actually makes it tangible in physical form. So journal about what your earliest agreements that you have broken, even if you're coming up with it randomly, even if you're just making it up. Now, in your mind's eye, take responsibility for it. Don't feel bad, just acknowledge it, and then make your way through, way back through your life, and remember as many other broken agreements as you can while taking responsibility for them all. This simple but meaningful process will enable you to become a more dynamic human being. Make a decision to always try to keep to your agreements, or if need be, acknowledge if you have broken them and then do something to make up for them. So, food for thought there. So, moving on to October 19th. The very, very first aspect that we have going on is we have the moon in a sextile with the planet Mars. This is the action planet. This is the red planet. This is about the gas in your fuel tank. This is about you having the motivation and energy to carry out whatever task that you need or want to do in your life. So in the moon is sextile Mars, finding people to match our outgoing energy, our outgoing spirit, is really quite productive at this time. Finding people that can really motivate us and push us toward great heights. And really um, being pioneering, leading, assertive, unvigilant, unvigilant, whatever the quality is, that's red, that's hot, that's masculine. This is about the divine masculine. Wedding also comes easy for us now. We can find that we have more excitement in relationships with excitement to relationships with loved ones, that we're more excited, that we have more fits about our relationships. This is also good for physical exercise as well, exercising your body. This is good for nurturing others while also focusing on your goals. So, nurturing others, which is the moon, and your goals and what you want to actively take action upon in the world is more. So, balancing these two things out is crucial here. We may attract someone to match our strong outgoing spirit, as I've said before. So this is about taking the lead that can shape your need for independence. This is about leading your life. You may have a lot of drive, initiative, and courage in your life at this time. So that may be positive with this. We're all going to get the moon will conjunct Uranus. So the moon is in Taurus, Uranus is in Taurus, around about 26 and 27 degrees Taurus. So with the moon conjunct Uranus, we feel the need now to act on instinct, to act on our gut feeling, our gut trust feeling of what we want to act upon in the moment because of what our gut is telling us to do. Overthinking and patience, these two things won't bode well at this time. So don't overthink, don't wait it out, don't sit on the fence, don't hesitate. Now is the time to act on your gut. Trust your gut at this time. You may have a lot of flashes of insight at this time, which may need to be taken seriously. You may express yourself as much as possible. Now is the time to express yourself. If you've been holding yourself back from expressing yourself in your true, authentic, noting nature, now is the time to express yourself as authentically and as much as you can. This is a time to express emotions freely without the consequences being in place for those emotions. You may also have a surge of imagination at this time that may come about. So the things you feel or say may shock others and yourself. You may do really, really shocking things that are out of the blue, that are sudden, that are unexpected because you want to make a change, you want to do something different, you want to break from your routine, and you're doing something that is just shocking, that is, you're moving on the hilly way instead of the flat way. You're opening it up from the bottom instead of the top. You're doing things that are unexpected, that are opposite, that are unconventional, basically, that are just the total flip around of what you would usually do. And so this is about your rebelling against the status quo of your life. If the status quo is really tiresome, lonesome, boresome, some really um, just flatline. Now's the time to rebel against that status quo. There may also be tension in your relationships that may need to be looked at. This is about releasing emotions or resentments that you have been holding on to. This is really, really important to do that at this time. You may have subconscious impulsiveness in your system strongly. And you want to make significant changes regarding your relationships at this time. So making these changes is very, very good to do at this time. You may have wakefulness and lethargy. You may have lethargy then wakefulness. These two cycles of changing may be up upon him at this time. Now we're also going to say that the moon is going to sextile Neptune. So when the moon is forming a sextile to this really spiritual, nebulous, foggy, dreamy energy of Neptune, we can find that we have, um, a heightening of our sensitivity and emotions. We may feel more in touch with others' feelings in our environment as well. We may be feeling more sensitive to these things. And so we may feel negative energy. We may pick up on even the subtlest of energies, both positive and negative, and they can really affect us. Are these emotions draining you? Are these emotions exhausting you or drowning you on emotional levels? Now's the time to evaluate that. This is the time to have a lot of psychic sensitivity and empathy, to really have these two things in the strong suit of our lives. So to have these two things is anapanam for us. We can have personal or external perceptions. Alleviation is part of this. Expressing yourself through the act of writing, journaling what it is that's on your mind and heart. That's what this basically is about. You may have alternative solutions for self improvement, go in those directions. Engaging in social welfare issues, engaging in selfless service, be it to a charity, a clan, a Buddha legging of what is selfless of you, how you can serve. There may be fewer disappointments at this time as well. You may have connections that may be more important than you realize. This is about cleansing your space, cleaning up your space, cleansing up your space, rearranging your desk drawers, making everything very feng shui positive. I mean, renewing your energy. It's doing whatever you can to renew your energy. It says it throwing the stuff away that you don't need. Is it going outside and walking for a little bit? Whatever renews and restores and replenishes your energy, now's the time to do that. Diminishing your power. Anything that can diminish your power is not positive at this time. I. So addressing social issues is very important now. And so we can find that we have social deprivation and negativity. We can have strong intuition and psychic abilities at this time as well. We also find that we're more dreaming and we're more imaginative. Our imagination and our dreams are more vivid at this time. For instance, I had a dream that there was this cup where you could sort of release it and you could rub it, and then it would create a blueberry storm. And it would let up only when God wants it to let up. So that's my own personal example of vivid dreams, as you can tell. So neglect that causes unnecessary suffering. It's important not to neglect the people and yourself in your life, not leaving both yourself and others behind. And so how can your voice and actions contribute to social change? This also requires your evaluation. How can you contribute to change, social change? This is also good for artistic and creative pursuits as well, whatever they might be. And you may feel more compassionate towards others and self at this time. So it's good to show compassion in the healthiest ways. The moon is going to trine Pluto in Capricorn. So the moon then sets 29 degrees of Taurus. Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So you can find that we're more sensitive, that we have more psychic perception at this time. We have a more psychological self-analysis. This is also great for that. We can access the deep, dark areas of our subconscious. That's the real high road of this time. We can explore the dark and taboo areas of life. Someone is likely to intensely influence your life in a life transforming way. So be open to those changes and allow them to transform you in the way that they need to do so. Serious healing and especially traumas and psychological wounds from the past can be productive. So healing these wounds, healing these traumas, doing that deep healing, the shadow work. This is great to do at this time. This is great for shadow work. This is great for becoming closer to a female or maternal figure in your life. Your intuition may also be given a boost at this time. You're feeling more intuitive. You can see to the truth of things. You can absolutely see to the bottom note of whatever you're getting into. You're seeing past the superficial. You're seeing past the illusions, the gray areas of life. And so this is also good for going deeper into your spiritual practice as well. This is also good for trusting your instincts also. Now the moon is going to oppose Venus. So we're feeling the need now because the moon is in Taurus, Venus is in, or when the moon enters Gemini, Venus is in Sagittarius, they're opposing each other. So when the moon is opposite Venus, we're feeling in the mood for love and companionship. But there may be differences between partners that can be problematic at this time. Maybe your feelings, needs, and loans on the amount of freedom given and received. So we need to look at the feelings, the needs, and expectations of ourselves and for others as well, and how those needs are getting met, how those expectations are getting met or not getting met. That's what we need to evaluate now. So possessiveness, jealousy, and insecurities. These things can be high in the mood tile at this time. So looking at these negative qualities in relationship. And so we can find that we're more persuasive feeling of being unloved, a perceived feeling of being unloved. So we may feel unloved at this time. And so we may um misinterpret guardedness as other people may misinterpret if we become more guarded this time as we're being secret and intimate in negative ways. So inner vitality and capacity for harmonizing feelings seem to be stifled, to be stiffened at this time. It's important to not lower your standards in relationship in order to become close to somebody. Do not lower your standards in relationship. That's very, very clear here. Is more self-love and acceptance needed for you to bond with the people in your life more? Where does there have to be these qualities in your life? People may perceive you as cold and distant in your relationships, so be aware of that, and be as close and be as nurturing and be as tender as you possibly can. There may be superficial impressions from others as if you're going through the motions, so getting past the superficial and really put meaning into everything that you do at this time so you're not going through the motions. You may be preoccupied with physical and material possessions, money or physical comforts. There may be a false sense of identity and self-worth rooted in sensuality. There may be behaviors that push people away from you. Other people move away from you at this time because of these qualities that you possess. It is very, very important now to share your true self more freely, to really express your true self and who you truly are, and be open and authentic in your relationships. It's important to not judge people as harshly and approach relationships with open-heartedness, open-mindedness, and curiosity as well. So we need to approach relationships in this kind of way. We need to be more open in your interactions, at our interactions. We need to be open emotionally when it comes to this. You need to also develop more better cooperation skills as well. And we need to also open ourselves up to new contacts and new people. Being open to these things is super important. There can be valuable qualities that can be shared with mutual benefit. We need to be genuine in our interactions. We need to also position ourselves with help to help those with challenges, to be open to helping those with issues. We need to also have more self-understanding and compassion at this time. Now, the second card that I pulled, this card is for October 19th, is the card um, Show Self-Respect. So the message here is to be respectful towards yourself and therefore others in your life and your environment. So self-respect can show up in many forms. The first of which is it can be to listen to the cycles of your body and your inner voice, to listen to these things, to be in tune with these things, and honor your bodily needs. Have respect for your bodily needs. If it needs to eat, then feed yourself. If it needs exercise, do that. If your mind needs to be stimulated, stimulate your mind. And do what your inner voice is telling you to do, whatever direction that it's pulling you in. whatever it may be. Now is the time to move in those ways, to honor what your body needs and wants. If your body's full from eating, stop eating. We need to discern what works for us and what doesn't work for us, what's healthy for us and what is unhealthy for us, and do the things that are healthy for us, mentally and physically. And we need to also know that we are a spirit connected to the divine. We are a spirit and we're aided and supported by the divine. The other thing here is we need to not let other people and their projections toward us define who we are. We're not living from the outside in, we're living from the inside out. Or that we're not letting other people sort of steer us away from our authentic self and define us who we are, because that's a reflection of who they are, not who we are. And letting others, insult you or define you as who they are, saying that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not worthy enough, or whatever it is, can lead to self-sabotage and self-doubt. Now, the action on this particular card, which is card number 29, so let me find it here. Card number 29. This is what the action is. So this is what to do with this card. Take 10 minutes to lie down, relax, and tune into yourself. Ask yourself, where in my life am I pushing myself, taking on too many responsibilities, and spending time doing things that harm me? What are the things that hurt me? What changes can I start to make in order to feel healthier and create true self-respect? How can I focus on the higher me that is above the physical realm? Write these things down, then on a daily basis ask, am I being loving, kind, and respectful to myself? What am I doing for my higher nature to enable me to rise above current circumstances? So that's what you need to know for October 19th. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Consider liking it, subscribing to this channel, and clicking the notification bell so that you don't miss future uploads from me. Have a great couple of days. Bye for now, everybody.